All right, let's talk about one of the biggest revolutions happening right under our noses, the incredibly fast integration of artificial intelligence into our entire education system. And I mean really, really fast. This isn't just about a couple of new apps, It's a total reimagining of how we teach and how we learn. So let's get into it.
So to really get a sense of just how big this is, look at this number. We're not talking about a small, niche market. We're looking at a future where AI in education is worth over $112 billion. A number that big tells you one thing for sure: this isn't just a passing trend. It's a full-blown transformation. And this is where it gets really interesting. See, students are already living in the future. A huge 86% of them are already using AI. But here's the catch. A whopping 80% feel like their own schools are totally dropping the ball. That massive gap between what students are doing and what schools are providing is exactly why we need to be talking about this right now. Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll dig into what's fueling that giant number. Then, you'll meet the key piece of tech driving all of this, the AI Copilot. We'll look at what a school day actually looks like with AI, cover the very real challenges we have to face, and finally, we'll talk about what this whole agentic future really means.
Right, with a market that huge and students practically demanding it, what's the actual technology that's making this whole revolution possible?
Well, the term you really need to get familiar with is AI agent. And please, don't just think of a simple chatbot that can answer a few questions. No, we're talking about something way more advanced, like a true partner in the classroom. At its core, an AI agent is an independent system that really understands the context it's in. And that Copilot analogy, it's perfect. It's not trying to fly the plane by itself. It's sitting right there next to the human pilot, the teacher, the student, helping to navigate, handling some of the complex stuff, and just making the whole journey way, way smoother. So how does this Copilot actually think? Well, it's kind of like a three-step dance. First, it's always paying attention, remembering every little interaction to build a complete picture of a student's progress. Second, it uses all that information to adapt and get smarter, recognizing patterns to improve itself. And third, and this is the real magic right here, it becomes proactive. It doesn't just sit there waiting for you to ask a question. It sees you're struggling and offers a hint. It sees a teacher is swamped and helps draft a quiz. It's always a step ahead.
Okay, so that's the tech. Pretty cool, right? But what does this actually look like in a real school, on a random Tuesday? We can really boil it down to three key roles: one for the student, one for the teacher, and one for the school itself. Let's start with who matters most, the student. For them, this whole thing is about one word: personalization. We're moving away from that old one-size-fits-all classroom to something that's built just for them. Think about it. An AI agent can build a learning path just for you. If you get a concept, it speeds up. If you're stuck, it slows down and gives you more help. It's like having a 24/7 tutor in your pocket, ready with an instant hint on a tricky problem. It's an education that actually adapts to you, not the other way around.
Okay, now let's flip the coin and look at this from the teacher's perspective. For educators, this is all about getting rid of the grunt work so they can get back to the work that truly matters: connecting with their students.
So what does this AI Copilot do for them? Well, it can whip up a first draft of a lesson plan or a quiz in just a few minutes. It can automate grading, which, let's be honest, is a huge time sink. And it helps streamline all that administrative stuff, like scheduling and reports. And this isn't science fiction. Tools like Magic School are already out there, offering teachers dozens of little AI helpers to do exactly these kinds of things.
And look, this isn't just a nice idea, it has a real impact. Get this, a study at Europe's Open Institute of Technology found that their staff saved 30% of their time on grading just by using an AI agent. 30%. Think about what a teacher could do with all that extra time. It's a game changer.
All right, let's zoom out one more time to the 30,000-foot view. What does this mean for the school or the university as a whole? Well, for the institution, AI is about running a much smarter, much more effective operation.
At this level, you can think of AI as the central nervous system for the entire school. It can spot a student who's starting to fall behind and flag them for help before it becomes a real problem. It gives administrators the data they need to make better decisions about where to put their resources. Basically, it just helps the entire organization run more smoothly. Now, of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. A change this huge is never as simple as just installing new software. There are some really big, really important hurdles that we absolutely have to get right. There are four major ones we need to watch. First, data privacy. We're talking about incredibly sensitive student information, and keeping it safe is priority number one, period. Second, not every school has the tech infrastructure to support this stuff, creating a real risk of a new kind of digital divide. Third, we have to be constantly on guard against bias creeping into these AI models. And finally, there's the messy, practical headache of making these new tools actually work with the old system schools have been using for years. It's a massive puzzle.
So, with all those challenges on the table, what's the path forward? Well, the schools that are going to win are the ones that are adopting a new mindset. They're not just buying tech, they're embracing what's being called the agentic future, and it's all about rethinking our relationship with AI.
And this quote just nails it. The absolute key is to see these AI agents not as replacements for great teachers, but as powerful collaborators. They're tools to expand what a teacher can do to help them reach more students and make a deeper impact. It's all about augmentation, not automation.
So let's be clear. AI isn't going to replace a great teacher. But as this technology gets woven into the very fabric of education, it leaves us all with a pretty sharp question to think about. What happens to the ones who don't adapt?